What's up, Nate? Hey, hey, hey. So maybe zoom this in a tad, a wee bit there. Something sinister, yeah. Yes, had some technical difficulties. Maybe I dozed off. Um, yeah, so let's see. Yeah, so a little sinister action. Back to this little guy. I'll try to do this whole little bugger on a stream. Um, do a little bit today, a little bit later on. Who knows? Um, yeah, so I just gotta check my colors here. And so oh, Mr. Sinister cards. Fancy seeing you here. Okay, purple, blue. Schmertz. Uh, so yeah, okay. So this is purple, purplish, purplish stuff. Blue, purple on these. Blue, purple boots. Okay, easy peasy. So really, for the most part, for my underpainting values, I can just use black. Let's get some black going. Keep this in frame. So just paint with water. Let's see palettes off screen, on screen. And start doing some shadows on the body. Since he's the main the main power, the main light source is really going to be the glowing fists. So he's going to be lit from both these sides, which means that the darkest areas are going to be in the center. I'm not going to touch anything around the head. I'm just going to take this down so it doesn't. Muppet Baby edition, yeah. Well, not Muppet Baby, X Baby, I think. Or maybe Muppet Baby. I don't remember what Muppet Babies look like. This is not. There's no way this music is copyright free. One sec, let me put a different track. What's up, derp derp? Alright, 12 hours copyright free music. Twitch safer. Alright. Hopefully there's no profanity in this one. What's up, Paul? Paul? Yeah. Raj, missed you last night. Was it last night? I lost track. I hope everybody's week is off to a good start. Jayhawk. It's good. Friend's birthday yesterday. Okay, I guess we'll allow it. You're allowed to have a social life outside of social media. So because he's lit from both sides, this is essentially, everything just gets rendered like a cylinder. Where the darkest is down the center. Some textures on this little belt thingy. Just gonna do a little bit of a more defined edge here, and then this is all gonna go dark. It's actually a fairly simple lighting setup. And happy pre-birthday, Mr. Raj. Oops. So there's a brush. I need to throw some medium in the mix here because this isn't sticking that well. We'll see in a minute. I'll try to do a second coat. Darken some of the values. Build up more depth. The shadow would actually cast away from the light. So give me 1 second while this is still wet, so I don't get a weird. Oops. So I don't get weird edges. When you have a strong light source, you kind of have to look at kind of like a perspective point for the light and where it's, in which direction it's going. So what was the question? The cast shadow would be actually in both directions, because if you think of it, I'll let that sit up for a second. Try to explain it. If I have a cylinder or whatever, I have a shape. Can you see that? I don't know if that's showing up on camera. And then I have a light here. So light's casting this way, this part is light, this part is dark, and my cast shadow is going this way. The horizon's here, there's the bottom, and like something like that, right? Is that shit? I hope this is visible. Now, if I have another light here that's also casting in this direction, it's going to create a secondary shadow this way. These being the darkest areas, or this being the darkest area, the overlap of the two shadows. And then as same idea as a cylinder where the center is the darkest, this area of the shadow would be darker in the center, this area of the cylinder would be darker, right? Highlight here, highlight there. Probably wouldn't even see much of an edge on this side of the shadow, and I'll just kind of fade out. So the cast shadow is probably the most complex part of this lighting scheme. So in his case, probably the shadow would be, let's go from the center. Something like that. And as it gets further away from him, it would fade away. I didn't actually think of doing a cast shadow on the floor, but I will. Maybe I will. And if there is a wall behind him, I'm not going to draw it because I don't want to do it. I want to black out the background. It would be like a monster shadow. Wouldn't even actually fit on this paper. Next, you need to do a Sinister GPK style. I don't know what GPK is, so please enlighten me. Like, I really don't know what that means. What's up, Madness? Oh, Garbage Pail Kids. Oh yeah. I don't think I've ever done that style. That would definitely be a bit of a learning curve. Learning curve. Mr. Sinister garbage pail. Yeah, the Sinister pail. Well, my next random project, as decided by yesterday's chat, was Cosmic Kirby Nipple Silver Surfer. So that's Silver Surfer with Kirby Crackle coming out of his nipples. I can't remember who's responsible for that, but there's something special in that idea. So we'll definitely have to do something about that soon. Chibi Apocalypse. Yeah, that's also a good one. I said, like, whatever, a couple days ago when I first started streaming this guy, Scotty Young homage PMG I posted last week. So last week, the Black Widow. I got a lot of response to that. Like, people are really digging the chibi. Now, I know that's a copy, right? But people are digging it. So if people like him, I will do more of it. And there's really like endless possibilities. And you know, I like Apocalypse, so why not? And it's kind of like little side quests. It's a great and a great excuse to not work on commissions or paid work. But it's also relaxing, and it's nice to, second to Bad Wizard yesterday, actually like breaking up my flow and working on different things. A little variety actually helps. The head shadows I'm gonna do in burnt umber, just because I want to keep, yeah, exactly, keep the juices flowing, because I want to keep his head in a warm gray, and then his boots on these, all his body's pretty much cool because it's dark purple and blue, except for the belt. So I'm gonna hit the head with a warm gray, meaning that's gonna have a hint of probably green in it, and yellows, so it's not like just flat neutral mixture of black and white kind of gray. I generally don't use just flat neutral gray for anything. There's always a color mixed in there to give it, the gray, a little bit of a temperature. I gotta keep the juices flowing, gotta keep everything juicy and moist and fluid and liquid, and just any reason to say moist again. I know the process isn't exactly the most exciting, especially in real time, but it's just the way it works. Kind of what you have to do to make it work. And maybe I'm presuming that a lot of people care how the sausage is made, but I like documenting the process, just for me to be able to check in on it later, and see how I did something or how I didn't do something. If something worked or something didn't work, you know, it's easier to refer to an actual video and see what I did versus try to remember what I did. And maybe someday somebody will find value in something. And if not, well, oh well. Doing it anyways, might as well film it. I remember I turned this light off yesterday and it was actually better. Yeah. Is it a belt, like, or does he have crap on it? One second, before let me see, what is this? It looks like more of just a band with some stuff, so. It's coming, I think I'm gonna finish the other piece this weekend, if things go to plan, which means I'm starting on yours next week. And it's gonna be a slow burn, because, you know, we're slow in Canada. Everything is slower up north, but let's give them a little bit of a texture on the belt. Actually, this should be more symmetrical. I have to break up this red mass here, because otherwise it's going to be too much, just flat. I'm allegedly doing domino in the style of the John Wick poster with Pip the dog. Pip the pug. Well, at least that actually answers one of my follow-up questions, Nate. It's like, oh, do you mind if I work on that on streams? So, since you let the cat out of the bag, I'm just gonna assume that's a yes, unless you say otherwise. Oh, I'm glad I added this. It really breaks up the shapes. Oh, you'll see. You'll see it come together, all right? Oh, that's a nice piece. The J. Peter nuts, right? That's really nice. Well, since you brought up The Crow, did you watch the new movie? And how would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? Let's go with 10. It's easier math rating system. Oh, I think it's on, where did I see it? I watched it on Prime, I think. Oh, but I rented it, so yeah, I'll be on normal streaming normally. Shortly, I guess. So we'll loop back on The Crow later. Did you see Boy Kills Everyone with him? It's on Netflix now. The actor's great, that's for sure, but his film selection might be questionable at times. It's not a remake of the original. It's a different story. I mean, there are similarities, but there's similarities between all the various Crow tales. Yeah, that Boy Kills Everyone it's a totally different movie. He's great in it. I would compare it to Scott Pilgrim versus the World, but more violent and less weird. I don't know what genre to put it under, but it's definitely a niche film. What's up, Vinny? I still in the frame? Yep. Still building values. So I had a huge holy shit moment, like mini hissy fit, when I went and plopped down a layer of ultra matte medium on my Hatchet Man piece. And I just recently got ultra matte and haven't really used it. I used it a little bit in as a glaze mixed with some colors, but I usually use just standard matte medium, and it works great for me, and I'm accustomed to it, and I just cake it on in layers. So I try to do the same thing with ultra matte, only to discover that it doesn't behave the same, and it creates a chalky look and dulls the shit out of colors. I'll show you in a minute what I'm talking about. And I just started like heavily freak out, because luckily it's not a commission piece. It's one of these side quest things. But I was definitely pissed off because I put in like 10 hours in this piece and I ruined it. So I reached out to a few artist friends, see if anyone's had any experience with it, and luckily Eric Grove hit me up and let me know that he's gone through it, and gave me some ideas of a couple of things I could try to see if it'll work, if I can clear up the cloudiness, and luckily it did work. So I only did a little test spot, or a little bit of a test area, and it is working. So instead of me talking about it non-stop, I'll show you what I mean. Zoom out. So hopefully it's showing. You can see this cloudiness here. That's ultra matte, and how cloudy the lettering is. But I tried different mediums. So I tried airbrush medium here, sort of brought it back. A little bit of airbrush medium mixed with water over here sort of worked, but then just thin matte medium over the eyes, and it's all coming back. So I mean, it's a little bit more work to bring it back, and I may need to repaint in a couple of spots, but going from gray kind of smokiness to actually having the original colors come back up is a big win for me. So shout out to Eric Grove for helping me out. Not just a pretty, yeah, and the eyes, like it's coming back. And really, I mean, it's the eyes and like half the face that I really don't want to have to repaint. Yeah, and I probably have to redo the letters one more time. I mean, I've only lettered this thing 7 times now, so what's an eighth time? Right. But yeah, I was freaking out a little bit, and then luckily it looks like it's salvageable without having to repaint most of it. So I'm happy about that. But what's more important is I'm glad I saw the Ultramat get cloudy, because I was just getting ready to do a coat of it on my big Venom piece, and that is a commission, and I would have totally lost my shit if that went sideways, because I'm gonna be like 40 hours into that one, and there's probably another 10, so having to start that over wouldn't have been good. So while it's a little shitty, it could have been a lot worse. So the Hatchet Man thing, if you guys know, Hatchet Man from the greatest slasher movie that never got made, All Saints Eve, which is the slasher movie the make-believe slasher movie that they talk about in the Supernatural TV series, which I really think is something that Eric Kripke, the producer, who's also producer of The Boys, I have a feeling it's something that he wanted to do and never got a chance to do, so he just threw it into Supernatural. I can't remember his actual name, but it is Hatchet Man, and the premise, it's like a mechanic that got squished by his car because of some stupid prank, and then his spirit comes back to get revenge on all the people involved in the prank. So similar to Freddy Krueger, taking vengeance on the parents. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched any Nightmare on Elm Street, on the children of the people that got him killed, or Jason, original Jason, taking vengeance on the bullies, or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or any of those classic slasher. Slice them and dice them. Kind of cookie cutter, but it's all good. Yeah, so I just got to do some hair strands, and redo the lettering, and obviously do another coat of medium on it to bring the color back, and I'm gonna call that one done. Might be done just in time for Halloween. Well, that was the plan, but then it went cloudy. Oh, I need to zoom back in, don't I? Sorry about that. Just building shadows. So his legs are kind of those metallic bands, so I want slightly stronger contrast here. And one of the best ways to show the shiny effect is to have a very strong contrast between the lightest area and the darkest. So basically what's going to happen is there's going to be a highlight right here, like a super strong highlight here and a super strong highlight here. So then that's going to be one of the darkest areas. And then there's going to be a rim light just on the edge of the leg. So I'm going to just make a little line there as well. Same idea on his hands. The only thing is that his biceps are so close to the light source that I can't really add too much detail. I don't lose the shape of his belly. Okay, I need to go to a slightly bigger brush for some of these because I'm just dicking around with a tiny brush trying to cover large spaces. Let's see what size will work. Let's do this. There we go. Let's go to a number 3 round. Get more pigment picked up in the actual brush. Do some bigger strokes, it's a little smoother. A little easier to blend as well. Let's do some shadows on the belt. Gonna go over the belt and red again anyways, and bring up some of the highlights on the edges and the reflections, and create some reflections, but that's later. This is all base. What's up, North Cat? So I mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again because there's different people watching. So this process that I'm doing, which is this layered glazed approach, it's a little bit of a slow burn because you have to let the layers dry before you go on with the next one. And you can get around that with a blow dryer if you have one handy, which I do not. So for the purposes of just me streaming some stuff, it works out great because I can do this for 45 minutes and let it dry till tomorrow, and then come back to it tomorrow and do a little bit more and so on. But if it was something with a tight deadline, it poses a little bit of a problem because kind of stuck unless you're running a blow dryer. And even with the blow dryer, certain parts you may want to let dry naturally, because there's different look to the paint when it naturally dries and kind of spreads as the surface is wet, versus hitting it with a blow dryer and locking it in place. Also, I'm using water, not medium, so it's drying a little slower. But it's giving me a little bit more flexibility. To block in those shadows that we were talking about earlier. Something like that. Fade it out. So I'm probably gonna black out the background, so none of this is gonna show. Except maybe the horizon line. Now there's an opportunity to give some thought as to what I'm gonna do with the background. What's up, Jay? We were talking about your crow piece earlier. Glorious crow piece. I really like that piece. I'm glad Nate picked it up. Oh, he's still here. No, Carlos. I remember having a conversation with Jay a while back about using black paint, and he's not a believer. So don't look now, Jay. The concept of not using black is that there's no real black in nature. The only time you'll get true black is in pitch darkness, and if you're painting pitch darkness, why are you painting anything at all? So blacks should really be combinations of colors, which they will be at the end. But for underpainting values, it works great. I do think the concept of not using black in a painting applies more to oil or gouache, where it can actually muddy up and destroy your color. But an acrylic does nothing, because you can totally paint over this in another color. And that'll be the end of that. So. But you'll see I'm bouncing around from different areas of the costume. Yeah, as long as you don't use shit paper. Someone is paying attention. And the reason I'm bouncing around different areas is because I'm letting the paint dry. Doesn't have to be perfectly dry for what I'm doing here. Just enough that I won't pick up the paint from the underlying layer and create a mess. Never use shit paper. Friends don't let friends use shit paper. Hello, Angel. It leaves brown streaks, yeah? And it chafes. Time 10:43. Okay, do a couple more passes on the belt, and then I think that's it for tonight. It's a little too dark. Yeah, one a little too dark, but I can bring it back. Take a look at it. That on. See if there's any other areas I still want to do. And I do want to make a little bit of a shadow here. Fix that later. It's got a little goatee, so I'm not worried about the face right now. I think that should actually be... I need to fix a little curve here. You may have a future in art. Yeah, maybe. Or maybe I'm too old. Leave it to the young blood. Yeah, this should be. Yeah, it's making a little bit more sense to me now. To bring that back in later, but I don't like that floating tentacle there. I'm calling these cape tentacles because I don't know what they're supposed to be. So that's the official, unofficial nomenclature for them right now. All right, we'll let this dry, and then I can start. No, not yet. Okay. One more thing that I just noticed that I could do right now. Fine brush, and these bands are getting lost on his chest, so I want to just go over those lines and get them to pop back up or back out. Even if they're a little thick. Missing. Yeah, I missed one. Made a little bit of a mess here, but I'll have to fix that with color. Alright, yeah, that's it for Bad Wizard. What's going on, man? You know, you missed the best part. Where we talked about keeping things moist and wet and extra moist. Okay. Oh, but Mr. Bad Wizard, since you're here, and I know you were partially involved in the conversation about the Kirby, Cosmic Kirby nipples, I did give some thought to the composition of that piece, and this is one of the ideas that I was. Yeah, no problem. Appreciate watching, Nate. So that's kind of one of the ideas that I was thinking of, and then have his nips glow. But or more of a powder toast man. But gotta figure out the legs and the well-defined buttocks. But we'll come back to this later. I think this needs to be a more of a concept by committee. Maybe I'll run a poll and see what the elder gods think. Anyways, that's it for me for tonight. Thanks for tuning in. I will continue this on a stream. I think the only part that I can't do on a stream, just because I have no way of doing it, is I'm thinking I'm going to airbrush the background. Like I said, I have no way of streaming that. So, we'll see. Anyways, that's it for now. Thanks so much. Have a good night. We'll see you next time. Mau.